Why the advanced training? What am I going to learn that is not already out there and could get for free in books or any other courses? If you've tried several tools, indicators, theories, softwares, courses, but even worse, you've wasted a lot of time and money and nothing has changed, this information could give you a straight answer, but moreover a solution. There is a main reason why most of the strategies, theories, dogmas, and tools don't work consistently, and the main reason is the ideology. Yes, you've heard it right. The problem is not technical at all, it is ideological. Let's understand first what an ideology is, so you can understand what I mean. An ideology is a set of conscious and unconscious ideas that constitutes one's goals, expectations, and actions. An ideology is a comprehensive vision, a way of looking at things, as in several philosophical tendencies, or a set of ideas proposed by the dominant class of a society to all members of that society. This is also known as socialization, which is a term used by sociologists, social psychologists, anthropologists, political scientists, and educationalists to refer to a lifelong process of inheriting and disseminating norms, customs, and ideologies, providing an individual with the skills and habits necessary for participating within his or her own society. Socialization is thus the means by which social and cultural continuity are attained. Let me repeat this sentence one more time. Socialization that derives from ideology refers to the lifelong process of inheriting and disseminating norms, customs, and ideologies. Think about this for a moment. An ideology can be implemented on you. Therefore, we can conclude that an ideology can be deliberately disseminated in order to manipulate and condition behavior. But let's understand how you become part of this popular ideology, and what is this ideology I'm talking about. Howard Gardner, a very well-known American physiologist, helps us to understand how we learn a new skill. There are 4 stages. Stage 1, unconscious incompetence. The individual does not understand or know how to do something and does not necessarily recognize the deficit. They may deny the usefulness of the skill. The individual must recognize their own incompetence and the value of the new skill. But before moving on to the next stage, the length of time an individual spends on this stage depends on the strength of the stimulus to learn. There are 2 main ways you and mostly everybody else learns about this market: from an advertisement or marketing campaign, or through a friend who usually learned about the market from advertisements or marketing. Once a person gets involved in the market, that person is unconsciously incompetent, but has something very important in order to trade successfully, and this is simplicity. Since the person doesn't know too much about technicals, and everything the new trader finds says to start buying just because a bull candle appeared. You see the movement was going up, or vice versa, so the reasons to buy or sell are very simple. The problem is that, even though the simplicity is there, the new person doesn't have the experience or the skills to manage the risk, execute effectively, and to think in probabilities. Therefore, most likely he or she will win sometimes, but eventually will lose more because of the lack of experience. It is at this point that he or she realizes that there is a need for education, which brings them to the next stage. Stage 2, conscious incompetence. Though the individual does not understand or know how to do something, he or she does recognize the deficit, as well as the value of a new skill in addressing the deficit. The making of mistakes can be integral to the learning process at this stage. And this stage is where you realize and accept that you need to learn more about the markets, that the problem is you don't know exactly what. The only reference you have is the countless free information that is out there in groups, forums, YouTube, or maybe your broker. In this stage, because you are consciously incompetent,
you don't have experience, you are unable to question what is taught, it is easy to just accept ideas as facts and then conclude that if you want to become a consistent trader, you need to know everything and study and study and study. Therefore, you learn every indicator, course, theory, tool, and just like that, you start reading books, buying courses, attending webinars, and literally wasting time and money going in circles for months and months. You'll most likely do this for years and years because you have based your understanding on things whose main purpose shouldn't be to predict the future, but to always help you find a price location. Moreover, I'm going to tell you something that very few people will tell you. The reason why most of the free information is there is to implant an ideology and a predictable way to act and react so you are more manipulated, more prejudiced, more predictable. And why is that? So you always try to know and predict. With this ideology, you always try to find an answer as of why the market did this and that, and why the market will do this and will do that. And so this conditioned behavior makes you trade emotionally, most of the time always looking at the past to predict the future, reacting to signs. This ideology keeps you doing the same things with different combinations. As I said, this can trap you for years and years, and many people simply quit at this stage, and very few people realize of what they need to do, and that is think differently. Once they start thinking differently, they go to the next stage.
Stage 3, conscious competence. The individual understands or knows how to do something. However, demonstrating the skill or knowledge requires concentration. It may be broken down into steps, and there is heavy conscious involvement in executing the new skill. Here is where, if you are lucky enough, you start realizing that if you just use a simple movement, tool, or strategy, things technically are not that hard. But at the same time, you realize you need to change your mindset. That is thinking in probabilities instead of living or dying with every trade. Executing a trade after finding an opportunity is better than trying to judge the best trade. At this stage, you are bringing back what was lost in stage 2, which is simplicity. Remember, you had it, but when you got consciously incompetent without realizing it, you lost that simplicity, and yet again, after too much time wasted, you came back to the same place, but now with more experience. I want to emphasize this stage because this is a very important stage, and here is where FX logos trading with logic comes into place, because we literally solve the problem of subjectivity and endless circles. We help you go through stage 2 in a very simple and transitory way because it's only 10% of trading. Why would you want to waste so much time in technical analysis when trading is 90% psychology? How do we achieve this? First, we teach you how the market maker's business model is, so you understand who you are really trading against most of the time, so that you can then change the way you look at a chart. You'll understand the constant manipulation and at the same time the natural process this brings. You will learn how to adapt to that business model with nothing more than the price. That is right, just price. Not formations, candles, patterns, high-lows, ABCDs, support and resistance, and all of its derivatives. Now, I don't want you to confuse this with the so-called price action, because that has nothing to do with price. It should be called support or resistance action, or some candles action, but it's not based on price. It is still the same ideology of predicting and reacting. I am talking about knowing how to buy low and sell high without the need of any indicator, tool, theory, opinion, or software package. You will learn to see the market, not by the forms of what some people think of the market, or by what the theory says, or any other prejudice, but with what the market is truly doing
without anything on top of the charts. You will see it by its true nature. Think about how empowering this is. If you don't need anything that is preached out there, but just priced to create a consistent trading system that adapts to the market maker's business model, you won't be wasting time on things that are just opinions. This way to see the market is not something we invented or based on biased back testings. It's based on what has always been there, but due to the ideology and the different opinions and propaganda, has stayed just hidden to the conditioned eye. Once you understand that this natural process happens, regardless of what you know, think, or believe, you will come to this third stage where consciously you already know what you need to do. That is not technical at all, but a change of mind, a change of ideology. Instead of trying to create or come up with something new, trying different combinations of theories, tools, and indicators, you just adapt to what is already there. Getting out of that endless circle I mentioned in stage 2, it means you train your mind to stop trying to know, to anticipate, to control, and instead just execute and manage the only thing you can control. That is the risk you just simply understand, and the rest is out of your control. Remember, there are 3 main things you need to get out of that endless circle. Learn the market maker's business model, how to sell high and buy low just by price adapting to the business model, and risk management. All other information can be used as secondary information. Usually any other tool that is easy to understand can be used, but mainly to maximize profits. Before going to the next stage, I want to mention that since these principles are universal, they can be applied to any market, binary options, commodities, or futures. Why? Because the foundation is price, and price is universal.
Stage 4. Unconscious competence. The individual has had so much practice with a skill that it has become second nature and can be performed easily. As a result, a skill can be performed while executing another task. The individual may be able to teach it to others, depending upon how and when it was learned. Once you know what to do without the need of what is being preached out there, the tools and ideas one has to learn in order to be successful will be experienced fast and consistent, because you're doing the same thing and looking at the market the same way over and over again. Your connection with the market therefore is very personal, so that you won't care about the opinions, ideas, or experiences of other traders. The relationship that has been developed with the market is unique. In this stage, there seems to be a switch that has changed in your brain. Here is where you do things unconsciously. You have developed the skills of a trader. You are no longer looking for more technicalities, because you finally realize it is only 10% of what trading is all about. The reality is that very few people arrive to this stage, because it's very hard to come to the realization that trading is simple. Thinking and acting that simple is the complicated part. At FX Logos, we help you to get to this stage. We show you why you shouldn't be wasting more time in the technical part, and also how to do it and how to start the 4th stage, where the battle is very personal. Nobody or nothing can win this battle for you, only yourself. But at least we help you come straight to this point, instead of wandering around with high probabilities of not even being able to get out from the non-ending circle of finding that holy grail.
How do we achieve this? How can we show you that you don't need any of the popular tools, indicators, and theories other than showing you a real-time chart? How could we help you overcome the endless technical circle? There are 4 main phases in our advanced training. Phase 1. We trade one of the main trading sessions between London and New York every day for 3 hours for 2 weeks. In case you are wondering, you don't need more than 3 hours to trade, regardless if your goals are short, intraday, or long-term. The first phase helps you break paradigms and realize how ridiculously simple entering a trade can be every day. We can explain our trades before, during, or after we enter them. We trade the intraday movement based on the market maker's business model. And I'd like to mention something very important here. Most of the people, if not everybody, teaches you that you have to analyze the higher time frames so that you can find an entry in the smaller time frames. This is the exact opposite than what we do. We teach you how manipulative and how the market maker's business model works. You will realize that you trade the intraday movement as an individual, and once the pricing is going up or down after manipulation, then you can analyze what the bigger time frames are doing. Then you will decide if you let that trade run for longer or just take a profit. The risks are minimalized because since you always trade with price and not with specific candles, you always know when you are buying low and selling high. It also means that no matter if you choose to take a small profit or let it run for days and weeks, the risk is exactly the same. That means in order to turn an entry into a long-term trade, you don't need to go to the higher time frames and risk more than 100 pips per trade. Moreover, you will always trade quality and not quantity. There is no more trying to match different time frames because since you trade price, the price is the same in a 5-minute or a 4-hour chart or a weekly chart. Therefore, no matter what time frame you see, you are reading the same information. You will realize that entering a trade is nothing complicated once you adapt it to the real business model. Phase 2. Most of the people are taught to be subjective or discretional traders. Therefore, they try to read different time frames, economical data, technical tools, and apply theories in order to find the right and most likely winning trade. Basically, when they enter a trade, they do it subjectively and get out mechanically. It means that if you finally think you found a good trade, you enter it because of your beliefs and just mechanize the limit according to the risk. That means that if you risk 30 pips, you can just mechanize and go for 30 pips, 1-to-1. And if you go 2-to-1, you can mechanize the exit to 60 pips. This mindset doesn't let you work with the context of the trade, but rather is more like saying, well, I trade according to my knowledge and belief, and therefore at least I should get something equal to my risk. This mindset puts you in a passive stage. Another way people try to mechanize is by going to the past full with prejudices, from theories, chart patterns, or indicators to develop a so-called strategy. Yes, you can mechanize by optimizing and following some rules you developed analyzing the past, but the truth is that because of the business model, the market maker is always changing and evolving. Most likely what looks good on paper simply will stop working because you don't base your decisions on the present, but based on the past. It means you are constantly looking at the past to predict the future, and therefore the present looks inaccessible. We mechanize the entry based on the market maker business model and with the current price information. As mentioned before, this helps you to always see the trade with the same information. From day one, you will have something very solid in order to do the same thing every day without having to look at higher time frames or what happened the day before. This means that the mechanization comes first, and this is what we do in the second phase of the advanced training. We monitor every week in a personal one-on-one sessions that all you are doing is entering the market in a mechanical way. This phase lasts about 1 month. After that consistent entry is pretty much mastered, we go to the third phase. See, everybody that starts in this market should develop first the psychological abilities necessary to make consistent decisions in an environment that is always uncertain. No matter how much you know or what you think, the market is going to do whatever it wants. If you don't execute, accept risk, and make simple decisions, you can learn everything you want on the internet and buy as many courses as you want, but that won't take you anywhere. Phase 3. In this phase, you trade with us live again for 2 weeks. You will receive the same information you received during Phase 1. The difference is that your approach is not the same. In Phase 1, you got rid of a lot of paradigms, truisms, and all those opinions that were hindering you from doing simple things. Since you have traded according to the market maker's business model and the natural mechanization of the market, and have realized by yourself that entering a trade is not difficult, now you pay more attention to the reasons to exit, letting positions run, and managing your risk and profits, even though you are in the same trading room with somebody that is starting his or her Phase 1. You get a lot more from retaking the same information, just as when you read the same book several times, you realize that there are more connections that you might have missed in Phase 1. Your state of mind now allows you to see more clearly. By now you are very independent. You don't need more webinars, videos, courses, or the opinions of anybody else. You truly have developed a relationship with the market. There is no more, am I right or wrong? Now you only say how much it cost me to enter this buy or sell. That's it. You only see the market as it is. Just goes up and down. That is it. You understand that the fight to predict, to control, to know is not your fight anymore. Now you only adapt to what's going on. You have detached from the need to be right, the need to know, the need to predict, and even the need to win, because winning just comes as a result from the way you now think of the market. Phase 4. Most people don't need us during this phase because they have become very independent. We can talk about your trades and ideas based on the principles we understand. We are always there for you if you need us. After this point, we guarantee that you won't need any other class or course. You won't depend on others' analysis. You will be able to always take new ideas according to the context, and therefore will be able to filter opinion and ideas that don't go with the context of what you already know. You are only dedicated at this point to consciously apply the mental skills necessary to succeed until they become second nature. We don't give you a recipe. We help you to understand. We teach you principles, not ideas. If you think this is different, it's because it actually is. 99% of our students that have taken the advanced training say they have never seen the market from this perspective. Therefore, they understand that this is an investment. You will save tons of time and money. If you have been trying for quite some time, you will finally get out from the hole, an endless circle of trying to create something. If you are just starting, you won't fall into that hole, an endless circle. You will go straight to the third phase. According to Howard Gardner, this is where you are consciously competent. You will know that trading is only 10% technical and 90% psychological. But instead of wasting time on the technique, you work on the psychological until one day you become unconsciously competent and trading is natural, just like driving a car. You just trade and accept all those things that are out of your control. If you would like more information about the advanced training, please click the link below and let us know the best way to contact you.